Also, what I like about the movie is that though there was so much action, there was not like masala, slow motion, and aise thappad mara to
Hmm.
aise dikhaya. All that was not there, but still it was so interesting. So I think this movie is like a classic example of you can add everything you want in the pot, which is not commercial, but still make it commercial.
അയ്യപ്പൻ നായർ, കോശി കുര്യൻ.
Hi guys, welcome to another vlog. This time we are making on a very famous Malayalam movie. It's called Ayyappanum Koshiyum, which is directed by Sachi, and it's starring Prithviraj and Biju Menon. It released in 2020, and we're here to discuss about it. And before we start, I want Farhad to tell us what is the plot of the story so that everyone who has seen the movie, it's a quick recap of what the movie is about.
Ayyappanam Koshiyum is actually it has a very simple plot. As it is with all Malayalam movies that I've seen, they have a very simple premise of an argument between two strong-headed individuals. That is, if I can just express it in a single line, without giving any spoilers. And I don't want for people who haven't watched it, I want them to watch this movie, so I won't be giving out any further information about it. This is all you need to know while going into the movie.
Hmm.
It's a very simple plot, but the way they've executed it, I mean, excellent. I mean,
Yeah. So I want to ask you guys, when as soon as the movie started, before the credits, there was this half a minute to 1 minute opening sequence. What was the significance of the opening sequence?
So if you take the opening sequence in consideration, I mean that actually forms the excitement that we see, which is forthcoming in the next around 3 hours. I mean, for one, I can't believe this film was almost 3 hours long. When I first started watching this film, I thought, I'm God, just two characters. This film should be boring. I mean, I didn't see any reviews, much reviews. I just thought, I mean, I just saw one or two comments on YouTube that, this film is really good. You should watch it and stuff. And I also saw one of you two praises also. So I thought, oh my God, this is going to be such a boring film and it's so long. And when I saw that, action film and stays around an inspector and stuff, so I thought, what a cliched lag raha hai. Let's see how it turns out to be. And when I saw the opening sequence, it was so realistic. And the fight then that there is between Biju Menon and Prithviraj. And when you see the experience of Prithviraj, the biggest benefit of Prithviraj is that he can do, due to his expression and due to his face, the expression that he has on his face, and in all of his film that I've noticed, that he can play a role of a villain or a hero with convincing, with ease. I mean, this is the biggest benefit that he has in among all the Malayalam actors. I think another actor apart from Prithviraj that has this benefit is Fahad Fazil. That's what I think.
So I want to ask you, Farhad, what do you think was the message of the movie?
before I get to the message, I just wanted to say that the screenplay. I just wanted to just add on to what Sathik was saying in that the screen. I've written the same in my review too. Popcorn reviews. You can leave that link in the description, Tanya. So what I wanted to say was that the screenplay was so well balanced that you could not be rooting for only one character. I mean, at some point, your loyalties towards the characters would change. That is how brilliant the screenplay was. You may, support a particular character, and in the very next scene, probably you might sympathize with the other character. Yeah, it's going a little wrong for him, and then immediately he turns on the heat, and you say, no, he's using his power. This shouldn't be the case. So I think the messaging probably is that uh, argument, does not lead to anything. Okay, it's like both are at a loss, and it's only when you both. So if there is an argument, and as Sadik said, it also happens in our country, by the way. So if there is an argument, one person has to take up back seat. That's when the argument will stop, and then you'll come to know each other's perspective. So that is that. If you go at each other all the time, then it's never going to, end. Like how Mahatma Gandhi had said that an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. That's exactly what it is. If you have a go at each other, you are both going to lose. It's not
Yeah.
that one of you all are going to win at any point. So that is the messaging.
Well, for me, I think both the characters were of different social status and had like different powers, but the egos were so big equally that
Yeah,
कोई झुकने को ready नहीं था. They were just not ready to give up. They're like, if you will slap me once, I will slap you twice, and the other person will slap three times. And I was like, and that small thing became so huge. And then in the end, it was all sorted, obviously. So I think ego and character building in this movie played such an important role, especially how the movie started, where the characters were not as arrogant as they were showed by the end of it, where they were kind of almost ready to kill each other and didn't care about their own parents or family. It was incredible to see that character arc in both of them equally.
and you always were. If I was the writer, I would be a little conflicted on who would get more screen time. Am I dividing it correctly? Here they had perfect screen time. They both had. Then you needed strong personalities in the role as well. Biju Menon and Prithviraj. We earlier talked. Sadik talked about Prithviraj being. I think Biju Menon matched him.
Yeah,
Totally matched him step
yeah,
to step, and that is the beauty of the screenplay,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
yeah.
Uh, they both had gray shades. They were both affable, but you would also at some point you wouldn't like them,
Yeah,
both of them. It's not
yeah,
like you're favoring
true.
any one of them. So that's like credit goes to the writer and credit goes to the director. I think the director had expired, if I'm not wrong. He's expired. I think this was his last movie. The You can correct me in the comments below if I'm wrong, but it's just sad to see, like such a talent, just witness one of his works. I mean,
And you know what was good about it was that they retained the intensity of the film throughout the movie. It was not even once where you were like kind of bored or you were like, listen, forget it, I don't want to watch it. It was intense and then it was getting even more intense and just continuing the streak of like, you don't know what's going to happen next and who's going to win this fight. So I want to talk to you guys. What, according to you, was the favorite scene in the movie between both the actors?
So for me, the favorite, obviously, it was there were two actually. The first one, and then when they go in the flashback, and when the actual identity of Biju Menon comes here, that that how he was in the past and how he became like this. That how like stringent and how strict and adherent to his rules he was. So he was always an upfront man, and he always stuck to his rules and regulations. So when Prithviraj got to know that he is, now in conflict with a very arrogant and a guy that is very adamant on his rule, so that's where the story actually picked up. Like the story was really good, but then it got at a blistering pace from then on. So I think that was probably one of the best parts of that movie for me.
so for me, I think it has to be that climatic fight, at the end. That I think was pretty raw, and
Yeah.
I think also mentioned it in my review that it could have so easily been over the top, with people bouncing,
Yeah.
like we see in some of the other commercial films. And this is as commercial as you can get in a
Yeah.
Malayalam film. By the way, I
Yeah.
don't think you can get a more commercial pot boiler here. And even in that space, the fight sequence at the end was very realistic. It was actually they were giving each other like punches, which were fun to watch as an audience, if I can put it for the lack of a better word. But yeah, I mean that sequence was pretty interesting to watch for me, and it they had if you see the fight, it started from where and they went on raising the decibel levels and the intensity of the fight. It
Yeah.
escalated to that before bringing it down. So that I think the entire sequence that was there, that I really enjoyed as an audience. It was very well
Yeah.
choreographed and designed also.
For me, my favorite scene was, when that whole first fight happens, and then Biju Menon is in the bus and he's going for to the court, and then Prithviraj comes and they have this conversation where both of when Prithviraj tells Biju Menon that I came to apologize, but I will not. And then they have this one whole conversation inside the bus before Prithviraj gets down and gets into his car. Oh my god, I think that conversation was so intense. It was only wordplay, no action. And the eyes, like the way they were talking to each other, वहाँ पे दिख रहा था that they are just ready to kill each other right now, that they're just maintaining their dignity, that listen, the fight has just started and there's a long way to go. And then the how the arc of the movie changed from there, I was like, कि maybe बहुत ही subtle way में यहाँ पे politics खेलेंगे, but they were just ready to like kill each other, and the arc just changed from there. And I was like, okay, now what is he going to do? What is he going to do? And as Farhat very correctly said, that you will like this character in one scene, and then the next scene you will just be like, no man, he's not behaving well. That's not how you have to behave. So I think the director and the writers were very good in showing all shades of men in just two, not shades of men, but shades of human beings and emotions in just two characters and a one simple story. I also like the fact that both the families were equally included. Though one family was really powerful, like Prithviraj's family was like so powerful. The dad was a very big man, and over here, Viju Menon's wife was not that powerful, but her character was so good. Oh my god, I think she was one of my favorite characters in the movie, and the way she carried herself and presented herself, and she always had a baby with her, but her face was so always like, I'm out there to kill you, and you're not supposed to touch my husband. I really like that attitude of hers, and I think it was two contrasting wives as well, which was a very nice thing to watch in a movie like that. Because a tough husband has like a sweet wife, and over here a police constable has like a tough wife, and I was like, this is so contrasting and nice.
That's what I was also noticing, I mean, that's what the beauty of Malayalam cinema is, because when you see those films, I mean, not only the characters of the lead actors is so powerful, even the role of the, supporting
Supporting
actors. I mean,
actors.
their characters are also equally powerful. I mean, none of the characters are overpowered or surpassed by each other. I mean, the writing is always so good, and the screen presence is also good. So,
Yeah.
even though the lead characters were Biju Menon and Prithviraj, but they were equally supported by the other characters, even the police officers and the other supporting actors that were there in the movie. So, yeah, that was another good part of this film.
So Farhad, you mentioned something about you wanted to talk about and compare it with Hindi cinema in this next segment. So what exactly were you talking about?
So, as is the case, it's become a norm that, you take a film from down south, from Malayalam, Tamil, Telugu, or Kannada, and you make a remake. So, there is a Bollywood remake on its way too. It's going to star, it's being purchased by John Ibrahim Films, and it's going to star John Ibrahim and, if I'm not wrong, Abhishek Bachchan. They are the two roles that they are going to be performing. I don't know who's going to be performing which role, but it's if you put it, it's actually a very, very big risk and an uphill task already. I want the movie to do well. Okay, there are remakes that have done well, may not cross the original, but if they even come close to the original, as close as possible, it'll be great. But you need a skilled director also,
Yeah,
because otherwise the movie will be boring. It'll be drab.
yeah,
This movie, if you see, it requires some level of skills, to keep you engaged throughout with
yeah,
the two character plot.
yeah.
And there was never a point in which I felt bored in this movie,
Same.
but I have doubts in the Bollywood one. If they Bollywoodize it a lot, they might lose the essence of the story. If they dwell in the story a little too much, overindulge in it, it might get a little boring. So it's a fine line that you'll have to tread. And I hope they do well. I mean, this is the thing that I can see. I really hope that I would want to watch John Ibrahim and Abhishek Bachchan after, I think it was in Dostana, that they had
Dostana.
some good chemistry. So I just hope that that chemistry rubs off here, and they put in a very good performance. But I am a little skeptical, as I have always been with the remakes, not necessarily targeting this, but always with the remakes I've been a little skeptical. Yeah.
So adding to what Farad is saying, I think that chemistry actually worked in Dhoom rather than Dostana, because
Hmm.
I like the conflict that they had, And this
Yeah.
similar conflict could be visible if they are making the remake, if Farhad is saying. So if they are making a remake of Ayyappanum Koshiyum, so this chemistry or the conflict which we saw in Doom, it could be visible here also. And I hope
Hmm.
that, the role of the inspector is being played by Abhishek Bachchan,
Yeah.
because he did well as a cop. He has always done well as a cop. So I do hope that he does well as a cop. And when, if I remember correctly, because I've seen a few films of John when he has done a character that is violent or is angry. So I remember him playing in Etbar, along with
Hmm.
Amitabh Bachchan, that there was a movie. So he was brilliant in that. Then again in Doom, when he had, the gray shades of an anti-hero stuff. So, and again in a few other movies that he has played of a, though it was a hero, but where he is violent, when he's angry. I mean, just like in Shootout at Vadala, I think, and again in this Mumbai saga. So he does well in those roles. So I think if they are remaking it, so it could be good. But if they do remake Ayyapam Kosham, I mean, for me, if they are making a remake, so my dream combo would be Biju Menon's role should be played by Pankaj Tripathi, and the guy that was played by Prithviraj should be played by KK Menon, because the authority, I mean the violence and the ego that could be played or portrayed on screen. So I think KK Menon has the intensity to match an actor like Prithviraj. That raw violence which you need on an actor's face. So I
Yeah.
think that could be done. And on current form, I think Pankaj Tripathi can match Biju Menon in that role. So yeah,
Well, I
I think
think more than
I just
Pankaj
want to
Tripathi, I think it could be Manoj Bajpayee if you're seeing
Manoj
in
Manoj
that.
yeah,
also, yeah,
it
exactly,
can be managed.
yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to also make one more point that what Sadik was saying, John Ibrahim, when he was, in Shootout at Wadala, I would want to see more a John Ibrahim more closer to that in Madras Cafe, which had that silent aggression here.
Yeah.
In this movie, you require somebody who, is boiling from inside but doesn't show it from outside, like Prithvi Raj had done. It was silent aggression, that was it. It was not screaming, or it was not that sort
Hmm.
of a. If he does that, then it is going downhill from that. Then it just loses that, that simmering tension that is there. You need that. कहते हैं ना, like Amitabh Bachchan had done in Zanjeer, that was
Hmm.
that silent aggression that was there. Why was he called angry young man at that point of time? There were hardly any action sequences in that movie. There were only two or three, but that was that silent aggression that was there. That कहते हैं ना, उबलती हुई जो अंदर जो गुस्सा होता है ना, उबलता हुआ गुस्सा, that
मतलब
is that what is
वो आंखों से और चेहरों से ही डरा देता था.
And
ah
Raj has
exactly.
exactly done that in this film. Like मुझे खुद डर लग रहा था स्क्रीन के बाहर. I'm like his eyes are so intense that in ये मेरे सामने होते ना मैं डर जाती हूँ.
And
Yeah.
he's always doing like this. अपनी मूंछों
Yeah,
यूं करता रहता, तो
yeah,
उसमें अलग वो डर लगता था इससे.
yeah. And
तो
he's always
वो
like thinking something and then he's doing something else and you don't know what this character is about to do. It was very unexpected. But somewhere you even expected कि violence and abuse to होगा ही because that's how this character is. So I liked how he performed this character. It was really good.
yeah.
Also, coming back to Abhishek Bachchan, I think if he has to play this character, he should exactly be like how he was in Yuva.
Hmm. Abhishek Bachchan, I think, is a good choice.
Yeah.
Given the fact that he's a good actor. I mean,
Yeah, even I
I
like
don't.
him. I don't know why he doesn't work that much.
I think it's just under the shadow of
Bad
his
timing.
superstar father. Yeah, but he's a
Yeah.
good actor, so
He is.
I think he can pull it off. I'm just little more worried about John Ibrahim for that matter. Not worried, I would say not worried, but I would want a certain John Ibrahim rather than the one that I've already seen. That
I
is
think
what I
more than
was
acting, I'm
hinting
more worried about who's directing it because a lot depends on who is directing this film more than who is acting. Because we've already seen the chemistry and we can see what we will be getting from them,
at.
but it only depends on who's directing this film.
Yeah, you need a skilled director. Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
Also, I heard that there's a Telugu remake happening and its production already started in Jan 2021.
Thimi
So I
Bayak
think we
something
will
the
be
name
seeing it
is.
in Telugu as well.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
I want to ask y'all, what did y'all think about the action sequences in the movie? Because there was so much action happening throughout the film.
Acha. So when I was watching those action sequences, I mean, as always, Malayalam cinema, whatever the screenplay I saw in, I mean, we see in any movie, So it's so freaking realistic. And when you see the action which is going on between a cop and a guy which is so influential, and he can do anything with his power. So I mean, it felt very realistic. I mean, and the intensity which was there in Biju Menon. I mean, his ego got shattered, and he wanted to avenge that from Prithviraj. And when and when you see Prithviraj, that he just wanted to show Biju Menon his true power, his true strength that was in there. So the tussle that was there between the two, that was really good, really amazing, and I think it never felt over the top.
Yeah.
That was, I think, the best thing about it, for me at least.
That's what even I thought, that the film was super commercial. There was literally everything in the movie. जितना डाल सकते हो आप एक commercial movie में, वो सब कुछ था. But still, nothing felt over the top. That was the best part, because the screenplay was so tight, but still so good.
Yeah,
Also, like the
100%.
fact that there were no like songs in the movie, and खाली दो गाने थे, और वो दो गानों में भी story चल रही थी. So not like you can skip the song. It was
Yeah.
really well made, and without songs, it's a 3-hour movie, which is so
Yeah.
good and gripping. It was a surprise.
And one more thing I wanted to add on this, that what I've noticed, I mean, in the last few years, which I rarely noticed in the past, that I've noticed now in the last few years, when a writer, and specifically when a writer is good, I mean, he has a good experience of writing and doing screenplay, and if he's directing that film, so that film does turn out to be good. So Sachi, or that guy who directed the film, he was originally writer. So rest in peace, that guy Sachi, who just died last year. So he was also a good writer. So this is one of the main reasons why the character development of the film was so good.
Yeah, so that's it. I mean, it's like it was just a unique watching experience for me. It was just a lot of fun.
Coming to our favorite segment, because obviously all of us always talk about BGMs in every movie and how all of us are suckers for like good music. I want to know, what did y'all think about the BGM of this film?
I think it was quite pulsating. It did its share to heighten the drama. So the BGM. You need to keep in mind two things while uh, with the use of BGM. One is that don't overuse it. Don't let it overpower the scene. Second thing is you do just enough to enhance the scene. So there is only so much that like you and me are talking. There's only so much that we are able to convey. But if there was a background music, right now, it would enhance that. But the moment if it goes a little too loud, then the impact that we are talking about, that gets lessened. So here it was just right. It had hit the right chord. It enhanced the scene without, and it was minimally used. It is minimally used here. So I really enjoyed the BGM here. It was pulsating. It created the tension and escalated it, but it didn't overpower the scene.
Yeah, it was good.
And the good part is that the music that they've used, it actually suits the narrative of the movie. And whatever the scene is going on, the background music actually complements it. So you
Yeah.
like it, that how the scene is going and how the background music is aligned with it. So this is
Yeah.
what I really liked about it. So I mean, credit to the music director Jakes Bijoy, I think his name is. So it was really, really good by I mean, aligning that particular scene with that music.
Yeah.
So this is what I
Yeah.
really liked.
Also, what I like about the movie is that though there was so much action, there was not like masala, slow motion, and aise thappad mara to aise dikhaya. All that was not there, but still it was so interesting. So I think this movie is like a classic example of you can add everything you want in the pot, which is not commercial, but still make it.
And that's where the skill of the director lies, basically.
Exactly.
And I'm repeating myself, the skill, the skill, the skill.
It is.
This is exactly what the skill is.
Yeah.
To
Like you
keep it
have to have
engaging and to
skill.
keep it
Yeah.
real. Exactly,
I
exactly.
mean,
Yes.
I mean, to get the audience hooked for nearly, I mean, 3 hours or whatever the time span was, to get the audience engaged for that time also is a skill, which Faraz is saying, skill. So this is a skill also, to get the
Yeah.
audience hooked up, which very few directors have to in such a long movie and in an
Yeah.
action thriller. So action thrillers are really good. They are fast paced, but still to just get them hooked with just two lead characters. I mean, they are just fighting and fighting. But to do that, it's an amazing skill.
So I think we should come to rating the film now.
Okay.
I would give it a 4.25.
I think it will be a 4 on 5 for me. I've rated it on popcorn reviews as well. If you like to read a detailed review, you can again. I gave
I'll
it a
add the
4 on.
link in the description box below.
So I'll
I
go
rated
with
it a
four.
4 on 5.
So
Sorry.
I'll go with a bit more, 4.5 out of 5, because I didn't have that much expectations, to be very honest.
Yeah,
But when I saw the film and I was so hooked up with it,
yeah,
so really amazed. I mean,
yeah.
I really, because I had just seen one or two reviews of it,